The loading dock was louder than usual, but Lucas Carter barely noticed the forklifts weaving through pallets of medical supplies. As a single father raising his 10-year-old daughter Emma, every shift mattered. Every paycheck kept the lights on, paid for Emma's school lunches, and reminded him that no matter how hard life became after losing his wife, quitting was never an option. Lucas had spent 12 years working as the senior logistics coordinator for Medcore Distribution, a company trusted to deliver life-saving equipment to hospitals across the country. His reputation was simple: if Lucas signed off on a shipment, doctors could trust it. That morning, however, something felt wrong. While scanning inventory, he noticed dozens of cardiac monitors labeled for emergency delivery. The serial numbers didn't match the quality control database. Curious, he opened several crates and found missing calibration seals. Even worse, some machines displayed internal error warnings during startup tests. These monitors could fail while monitoring patients in intensive care. Lucas immediately stopped the shipment, locked the loading bay, and reported everything to his supervisor. Instead of thanking him, his manager exploded with anger. "Do you know how much this delay will cost us?" he shouted. Lucas refused to move the trucks. Minutes later, the regional vice president stormed into the warehouse, accusing Lucas of sabotaging company profits. They claimed the equipment had already passed inspection and ordered the drivers to leave immediately. Lucas calmly stood in front of the first truck and said, "If these machines hurt even one patient, I won't be responsible." The warehouse fell silent. Workers watched nervously as executives whispered among themselves. Within an hour, Lucas was escorted into a conference room where human resources slid a termination letter across the table. "You're fired for insubordination and disrupting operations." 12 years of loyal service ended with a security guard walking him to the parking lot carrying a cardboard box filled with family photos and Emma's handmade Father's Day card. Sitting inside his aging pickup truck, Lucas wondered how he would explain everything to his daughter. That evening, Emma noticed the sadness in his eyes before he spoke a single word. Instead of crying, she hugged him tightly and said, "Daddy, you always tell me doing the right thing is more important than keeping a job." Her words gave him strength, but sleep never came. Across the country, the shipment finally reached several regional hospitals. Biomedical engineers began unpacking the cardiac monitors for routine installation before patients could use them. Within minutes, alarms sounded. Every engineer discovered the same dangerous calibration defect Lucas had reported. Emergency emails spread through hospital networks. Procurement directors froze installations and demanded answers. Overnight, hospital administrators compared inspection records and discovered one employee had officially documented concerns before the shipment left the warehouse. His name appeared on every quality report: Lucas Carter. By sunrise, executives at Medcore were facing a nightmare. 40 hospitals suspended contracts worth hundreds of millions of dollars until someone explained why the company had fired the only employee who tried to stop defective equipment. Phones rang nonstop. News reporters started asking questions. Government regulators requested inspection records. The same executives who humiliated Lucas the previous afternoon suddenly realized they hadn't fired a troublemaker. They had fired the one man who protected patients and saved their company from the biggest medical disaster in its history. If this story has you on the edge of your seat, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because the biggest twist is still to come. Lucas woke before sunrise expecting another difficult day of searching for work, but his phone wouldn't stop vibrating. Unknown number after unknown number flashed across the screen. Thinking they were spam calls, he ignored them until a voicemail caught his attention. "Mr. Carter, this is Memorial Regional Hospital. We urgently need to speak with you regarding the cardiac monitor shipment." Before he could process the message, another call came in. Then another. Within an hour, representatives from hospitals across the country were asking for the same man who had been fired only yesterday. Emma looked at the endless stream of calls and smiled. "Daddy, I think something big is happening." She was right. 40 hospitals had independently discovered that Lucas was the only employee who documented the dangerous defects before the equipment was shipped. Every quality report carried his electronic signature, proving he had tried to stop the shipment. Hospital administrators refused to accept any explanation from Medcorp until they had personally spoken with Lucas. News spread quickly through the healthcare industry. Medical journals praised the unnamed employee who had chosen patient safety over his career. Government investigators launched an immediate audit, uncovering emails showing senior executives had ignored multiple warnings because delaying the shipment would reduce quarterly profits. By noon, television cameras surrounded Medcorp headquarters as reporters demanded answers. The company's stock plunged, investors panicked, and board members held an emergency meeting that lasted for hours. The CEO, who had never met Lucas before, finally understood the truth. One honest employee had protected thousands of patients, while the leadership team had nearly destroyed the company's reputation. That afternoon, a black executive car stopped outside Lucas's modest home. The CEO stepped out personally and asked if they could talk. Sitting at Lucas's kitchen table, with Emma quietly doing homework nearby, the CEO apologized. "Mr. Carter, we made the biggest mistake in this company's history. We judged your courage as disobedience when it was actually integrity." He offered Lucas his job back immediately, along with a promotion, a large bonus, and a public apology. Lucas listened respectfully before answering. "I didn't stop that shipment because I wanted a promotion. I stopped it because someone's mother, father, or child could have died." His words left the room silent. Instead of returning to his old position, Lucas made one condition. Medcorp would establish an independent patient safety department where no executive could override quality concerns for financial reasons. Every employee would have the authority to report safety risks without fear of retaliation. The board accepted every demand without negotiation. Weeks later, the company introduced the Carter Safety Protocol, which became the new standard for inspecting critical medical equipment before delivery. Hospitals praised the reforms, regulators closed their investigation after confirming the new safeguards, and Medcorp slowly rebuilt the trust it had nearly lost forever. Lucas became the director of patient safety, leading a team dedicated to ensuring that no shipment would ever leave the warehouse unless it met the highest standards. More importantly, he came home every evening knowing he had protected countless families he would never meet. One evening Emma looked at the framed newspaper hanging in their living room. The headline read, "Single Dad's Courage Prevents National Medical Crisis." She hugged her father and whispered, "Mom would be proud of you." Lucas smiled with tears in his eyes. He realized that success wasn't measured by job titles or salaries. It was measured by the lives you protect when nobody is watching. The man who walked out of the warehouse carrying a cardboard box had returned as the leader who changed an entire industry. And the 40 hospitals that once called his name would forever remember the single dad who refused to compromise his conscience. If this story inspired you, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share it with someone who believes that doing the right thing is always worth the price.